Imagine waking up in a world where even the most famous faces aren't safe from the terror of kidnapping. In today's video, we uncover the chilling stories of well-known individuals who lived that nightmare. Stay tuned, because the last story is one you won't believe. Let us know in the comments which story sends the most chills down your spine. In 1974, Patty Hearst, the granddaughter of powerful newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst, was kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA. The radical group sought to force the Hearst family to meet their demands, which included a ransom and revolutionary changes. Patty was initially held in a small closet, but as days turned into weeks, the psychological pressure from her captors began to take its toll. The SLA's manipulation was so intense that Patty eventually appeared in a bank robbery with her abductors, taking an active role in the crime. Her transformation from a kidnapped heiress to a criminal participant captivated the public and fueled media speculation. The case raised significant questions about Stockholm Syndrome, a condition where captives begin to empathize with their captors. Patty was finally rescued in 1975 after a nationwide manhunt. She faced trial for her involvement in the robbery and was sentenced to 35 years in prison, later commuted to 22 months by President Jimmy Carter. Her story remains a powerful example of how extreme circumstances can profoundly alter a person's behavior and perceptions. In December 1963, the world of entertainment was rocked by a dramatic event: the kidnapping of Frank Sinatra Jr., son of the legendary singer Frank Sinatra. The 19-year-old was abducted from his hotel room in Lake Tahoe by a group of criminals who sought a ransom of $240,000. The kidnapping was a high-profile affair, drawing intense media scrutiny and public fascination. The media coverage of the case was relentless, with every development followed closely by news outlets. The situation became even more dramatic as Sinatra Sr. and the authorities negotiated with the kidnappers, working under the watchful eye of the public. After several tense days, the ransom was paid, and Sinatra Jr. was released unharmed. The kidnappers were eventually captured and brought to justice. The case highlighted the vulnerabilities of even the most prominent individuals and showcased the dramatic nature of celebrity-related crimes. Sinatra Jr.'s ordeal was a stark reminder of the risks associated with fame and wealth. In November 1983, Freddy Heineken, the head of the world-famous Heineken brewery, and his chauffeur, Aldo were abducted in a meticulously planned kidnapping in the heart of Amsterdam. The kidnappers, 5 men led by Cor van Hout and Willem Holleder, had carefully studied Heineken's movements for months, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The abduction was carried out with military precision. Heineken and his chauffeur were forced into a van and taken to a hidden warehouse, where 2 soundproof cells awaited them. The kidnappers demanded 35 million Dutch guilders, a staggering amount at the time, and the highest ransom ever demanded for an individual. They knew the Heineken family could afford to pay, but would they? The Dutch police and Heineken's family faced a dilemma: meet the ransom demand or risk Freddy's life. The Heineken company remained tight-lipped, fearing any public statements might provoke the captors into harming him. For 21 agonizing days, Heineken and Doderer were chained in their cells. The kidnappers, confident in their planning, evaded the police's intensive search efforts for weeks. Meanwhile, the public was gripped by the dramatic story unfolding. Finally, the ransom was paid, and Heineken and his chauffeur were released unharmed, but the ordeal was far from over. The investigation that followed became one of the most extensive manhunts in Dutch history. The kidnappers had left behind enough clues, and over the following months, all 5 were apprehended and brought to justice. Their capture and the subsequent trial were heavily covered in the media, turning the kidnappers into infamous figures. Freddy Heineken's kidnapping remains one of Europe's most notorious crimes, a tale of greed, meticulous planning, and the ultimate power of justice catching up with those who believe they are above it. It was March 16, 1978, when Italy was plunged into chaos. Aldo Moro, the former prime minister and a key figure in Italian politics, was kidnapped by the Red Brigades, a radical left-wing terrorist group. Moro was not just a prominent politician, but a symbol of stability in a time of political turbulence. Moro was abducted in broad daylight as he was being driven to the Christian Democrat Party headquarters in Rome. His car was ambushed by heavily armed Red Brigades members, who killed his 5 bodyguards in a brutal attack before taking him captive. The kidnapping sent shockwaves through Italy and the international community. The Red Brigades, aiming to overthrow the Italian government and establish a Marxist state, demanded the release of their imprisoned comrades in exchange for Moro's freedom. Their message was clear: surrender or face the consequences. The Italian government, however, stood firm, refusing to negotiate with terrorists. For 55 days, the nation was gripped by the ordeal. Moro was held in a secret location, and his fate was uncertain. The kidnappers released a series of letters and tapes, showing Moro pleading for his life and trying to persuade the government to negotiate. The situation became even more desperate when the Red Brigades released a final, chilling statement announcing that Moro had been executed. On May 9, 1978, his body was discovered in the trunk of a car abandoned in a Rome neighborhood. The news of his death was met with nationwide grief and outrage. Moro's assassination was a devastating blow to Italy. His death underscored the intense political violence of the era and the difficulties faced by democratic institutions in confronting terrorism. The Red Brigade's audacious act demonstrated their ability to strike at the heart of the Italian political establishment. The kidnapping and murder of Aldo Moro became a defining moment in Italian history. This tragic event remains a stark reminder of the volatile nature of political conflict and the human cost of ideological extremism. The legacy of Aldo Moro endures as a symbol of both the vulnerability and resilience of democratic societies. The summer of 2002 brought a nightmare to the Smart family in Salt Lake City, Utah. 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was abducted from her home in the dead of night by Brian David Mitchell and his wife, Wanda Barzee. Mitchell, a self-proclaimed prophet, and Barzee, his wife, had been plotting this crime for months. Elizabeth was held captive in a remote area where she endured not only physical abuse but also psychological manipulation intended to break her spirit. During her captivity, Mitchell and Barzee forced Elizabeth to endure constant threats and religious indoctrination. Despite the extreme duress, Elizabeth never lost hope of being rescued. Her resilience was remarkable. She managed to stay alert and focused on finding an opportunity for escape. Fortunately, that opportunity came in March 2003. A couple recognized Elizabeth from a police alert and contacted authorities. In a dramatic turn of events, Elizabeth was recovered and reunited with her family, ending 9 months of agony. Elizabeth's case had a profound impact on the public and law enforcement. It brought significant attention to issues of child abduction and recovery. Her courage and determination have made her a powerful advocate for other survivors and victims of trauma. She has since spoken out about her experience, aiming to inspire hope and resilience in others. In 2005, before becoming a global star, Benedict Cumberbatch faced a terrifying ordeal in South Africa. While filming a miniseries near Durban, he and 2 friends were driving back to their hotel after a long day on set. Suddenly, their tire blew out. As they pulled over to fix it, 6 armed men emerged from the darkness, their faces obscured by shadows. The men quickly overpowered them, tying their hands and forcing them into the trunk of the car. For hours, they drove in silence, the darkness pressing in. Benedict later recalled the suffocating fear, the feeling of being utterly powerless. The captors drove to a remote location, pulled them out of the car, and made them kneel in the dirt, threatening them with guns and knives. Faced with imminent danger, Benedict tried to remain calm, appealing to the humanity of their captors. At one point, he persuaded them to let him out of the trunk to stretch his legs, citing a medical condition. To his surprise, this small act of empathy seemed to reach them. Slowly, the mood shifted. Just as quickly as the ordeal began, the men released them and disappeared into the night. Shaken but unharmed, Benedict and his friends were left alone in the dark, miles from anywhere. The experience left a lasting impression on him, a stark reminder of life's fragility and the importance of staying calm in a crisis. The kidnapping was a real-life drama that tested his resilience and shaped him into the person and the actor we know today. And there you have it, stories of famous individuals who faced the unimaginable. These tales remind us that no one is immune to the dangers of the world, no matter how famous or powerful they may be. But they also show us the strength of the human spirit, the will to survive, and the importance of resilience in the face of adversity. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more captivating content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe and take care.